Trays of a piano. It's currently A437 or roughly, or just under, and we really need it to go up to concert pitch. So what we'll have to do is take it as high as it was low. About 4 up to there. If you look at how low it was on there, and then not quite as high as it was low, but if we take it up to 444 roughly, most musicians are quite happy with slightly sharp piano anyway, maybe 442. We'll take it up to about 444. Now, this is a tuning app here. We're not using this to tune. This is just a guide, really. If you use that to tune, the tuning will be very inaccurate. There we are, 444 just above, and that will drop back down to about 441 by the time we finished. So here we go. So actually, our tuning's actually starting on a C, and I've already pitch raised this C. I know quite fast through this tuning, so I'm in on the video. Having tuned that C, I can drop down an octave and do the C below. As it's quite a big pitch raise, I think what I'm going to do is at this, because the problem with pitch raising is that the whole thing will go down afterwards. What I'm going to do, and you'll end up tuning it an extra time, so I'm just going to tune the first two of each note. It'll sound awful to start with, but it's just to equalise the tension on the whole piano, like that. Doesn't have to be anything like accurate, this, but just a slight turn on each tuning pin, and then end up with a more accurate tuning afterwards. If you turn all three, you tend to find that you overdo it. So this isn't accurate tuning at all, it's just using my ear. That needs adjusting, that. This is making it sound really disastrous because it's putting each note. I'm just tuning 2 out of the 3 strings, and only roughly. In the bass, because they're bichords, you might as well tune them both up roughly right. If you don't do this, you'll have to go over the tuning again, for sure. You're going to try and get it right as much as you can. These are quite new strings, that's one reason why it's gone flat. I just restrung it recently. We'll leave the bottom octave there. Now, having done that, the C is dropped down to about 1 and nearly 2 beats sharp, which will be fine. It'll drop a bit more when we tune the 3rd string here. When we tune it, well, on that one, when we tune the 3rd string on these, it'll cause it to drop a bit more still. So having tuned this is my system of tuning. Slightly unorthodox. It's the way I was taught to tune, and haven't changed to the orthodox method of doing it. So I do C and top C and middle C, octave pure, and then up to the G. So I tune in fifths, octaves and fifths, and dropping down to the G below middle C. That fourth should be slightly wide. Now there's a slight beating on it. Don't try and tune with to the tuning device on an app. It's just not accurate enough, but it gives you a guide, and because I'm making the video, it's interesting for you to watch that. And then going around the clock, the key wheel, if you look up a key wheel, you'll find we're going to go around the key wheel. So that's C to G to D. That's a slightly narrow interval, so you get it pure and then narrow it. Just under A442. 442 is very acceptable to all musicians. And dropping down to the A below middle C, we're trying to stay in the range of F sharp to C, between those two notes here. So dropping down to the A and up to the D. Now when you get to E, you've got an interval to tune to. That should beat about 10 per second. You get used to the sound of it. Then the next one round the wheel is the B. I'm tuning the unisons after that. Get the unisons clear as you can and drop down the octave. And then drop the octave. Got another interval to test here, about 7 a second. Now, it is important to get these right. With pitch raising, we're going to have to do fine tuning. The next tuning will be the really accurate one after the. But more important than as important as the exact notes right is what we call setting the pins. And what I'm doing is I'm putting pressure on the tuning lever and hitting the note quite hard so that the tension's equalised across the whole string, which holds the piano in tune. Really setting the pins is something you pick up over the years. There's no substitute for just doing a lot of it. B, we go to the first of the sharps, F sharp, and now you've got the test of progression there. That should be a good progression from, that's a slower one, then that's faster. From the we did the octave F sharp, C sharp and G sharp, and now we've got more and more tests. I'm going quite quickly on the video. Sorry if it's too fast for some. I don't make the video too long. Here we have plenty of tests. They should be similar to each other with a slight progression. With a pitch raise, it's very hard to get it really accurate. As I say, the next tuning will be the really accurate tuning. So the last of the sharps here, we come right round. I'm going to the last ones. This is A sharp. Tunings always call it A sharps rather than, you'd probably know that more as B flat because it's more commonly used as B flat, but it's A sharp, and we want to get that. We've got plenty of tests now with the thirds and the sixths. And now we come back to right around the key wheel, or key or chord wheel, right round, cycle of fifths, right round to the F, which is the next one is C. And if we got it right, then that and that should sound pleasing to the ear. It's not perfect, as I say, we need to do another tuning after this really, let the piano stabilise for a while, but it was pretty good, not too much beating there or there. Okay, now having done what we call the temperament area from F sharp here up to C sharp at C, that's just, as I say, unorthodox way of tuning, but it's what I started off with and haven't seen any reason to change. So from there to there, dropping the octave to stay within that range, and back to the C, all the way around the cycle of fifths. Now we go up to the top of the piano, so progressively up chromatically. Now this should be slightly sharp. Ideally perfect on the fifth and slightly sharp on the octave. And then we're going to get, as we go up, we're going to find that if we don't sharpen it, the ear will not be happy. I'm going to explain that later on, but I'm trying to keep this video short, just to give you a general overview of what the pitch raising is all about. Now we talked about the intervals there, but really from the client's point of view, you want to get the unisons to stay as accurate as possible and as stable as possible. There's no beating. Those two strings, we're not going to get any more pure than that, I don't think. But stability is more important than anything. So finishing off with a downward movement to equalise the tension right across the string, hit it quite hard. If you hit it too hard, then over the years there's a possibility of damaging your ears. You might want ear protecting. That's a debatable point. I've been tuning for 30 years now and haven't had it, and maybe my ears are suffering a bit. So we're nearly at the top octave, going up in semitones. You can see that A there, 442, 886. So we're just sharpening the octaves. If you watch this, that's sharper than that one, and sharper again. So probably a bit too sharp. And the frequency doubles, 440, 880, 1760. So we've done the right up to the top now. Go down from here chromatically down to the bottom of the piano. Now I want the fourth and the fifth, well, first of all the octave to sound pure, fourth and the fifth as good as we can get them. Whoops. This app, by the way, is called G-String. It's the ad-supported version of Waves, which I've got Waves on mine. This is my colleague's phone here. Waves is slightly better display, not really much different otherwise. Now we come to the first of the copper wound strings. These tend to be a bit less pure, though these strings are pretty pure for their size. On the small piano, this is a Bluthner style 4. It's hard to get a really pure sound on short strings. The longer the strings, the purer you can get it. And you'll never get total purity, you just got to get as good as you possibly can. Now get down to the bichords here in the bass end, and they're actually very short strings. The Bluthner style 4 has even got shorter strings than, say, a Bechstein Model 10, which is a straight strum Bechstein, has longer strings. We measured them recently. But they're very well made pianos, so even though strings are short, it's still a great sound. So you can't get such purity, it's difficult to get the right, as purity you really want. These are high quality German strings. You can always tell good stringing because all the line is exactly right. String makers are very proud of their string line, and that string line is really, really accurate. So it's an excellent string maker made these strings. I always put the wedge between notes there, just to save time, because you can do two at once that way. So that's the F sharp. Fifth and fourth, an octave as pure as possible. If anything, the fourth should be the one that's slightly wider. So don't move the wedge to the next two there, and I can tune the unisons on the ones we've just done. Always finish tuning on a downward movement. Having said that, that's my rule. You might find, you might be listening as a tuner and say, well, that's not what I do. It's the end result that counts. Is the piano stable or not? When you come back after 6 months, you want a stable tuning that stays in tune. So the last of the bichords. Single strings. So that's we've gone through the whole piano now. Let's just test it. This is my testing here. Octaves and fifths, the purest sounding intervals. Not happy with that one. That one. Well, there's a few there to correct. So there we are. This is a restrung, completely restored piano that we've restored recently. Very nice sounding pianos, Bluthner style 4s. If you want a very small grand, then I can really recommend them. So thank you very much for listening. That was an example, a rather quick example of tuning. I hope it's been useful. Thank you very much.